Get into the world of celebrities and Bravo Labs with What the Reality with me, Cache Roberts. I discuss the mess of it all, from reality TV, Hey Housewives, to iconic pop culture moments in the making. We are talking about it all. Don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and a comment wherever you listen to your podcast. Welcome to the pod. You are listening to What the Reality with me, Cache Roberts. It's been a week. I feel like Cynthia and Nene, when Cynthia's talking about how long was it when she was dating Mike? I think it's when Kenya was dating Mark, and she was like, they've known each other for like we've known each other for a while. Like, it's been 4 weeks, or it's at least been, 2 weeks or something. And then Nene was like, it has not been, she said it's been like 8 weeks. And Nene was like, it has not been 8 weeks. She said, okay, well, it's been like 6 weeks. She's like, it's not been no 6 weeks. She said, well, I know for sure it's at least been a month. She's like, it has not been a month. What is good? I'm so awkward. I don't know what to do, y'all. So yes, an episode was supposed to come out last Friday, normal programming. I was going to record Thursday before my flight, but to be honest, when I tell you so much had happened last week, when I was just kind of like, I'm about to go on vacation, let me just take a break. So I was like, I'm just going to be off Friday and Toxic Tuesday and come back to you guys Friday with a whole new episode. This episode was supposed to be out last week. I didn't get a chance to record it because it was just, like I said, so much going on. But this episode made more sense to last week, given what was coming off air. However, I still want to talk about what I'm going to talk about because, as you can tell by the title, we have another What's the Reality on What the Reality. And as you can tell from the title, it's so timely to last week because Bravo's Love Hotel had went off, and I really wanted to do a deep dive between the fallout. My bracelets may be making noises. Let me take one off at least, so like the bangle's not chucking. So Bravo's Love Hotel went off, and there was a big thing that happened the end of September last year between Joelle Kim Booster and Shannon Beador. Not big, but don't come for Shannon because she has stands, okay? She has stands. Joelle came for Shannon, and it was a story that got picked up. It had a lot of traction. I didn't really get into it because I was like, I don't watch OC, but I think I am, especially since Gretchen is back on. I watched the seasons when Kelly Dodd was on, and I watched a season or two when Vicky was on, like when the whole cancer thing was happening. I haven't really watched OC though. Like, I didn't even know Shannon Beador was an OG, or at least like started off at like season 3 or 4. Like, she didn't go into OC until season 9, which is crazy to me because it's kind of like a Dorinda. Like, Dorinda, you would never believe Dorinda is not an OG because of the way she moves, and it's like, it just seems as though she's been on the show forever. I would not have known Shannon was not an OG if I didn't do my research, as a journalist. So this episode is dedicated to that fallout, and this is following, the finale of Bravo Love Hotel, which we did talk about in my past episode. That was like 2 weeks ago at this point. But yes, thank you so much for listening. Where have your girl been? Where have I been? I have been in Dallas. I have been planning a trip for Cancun for my birthday. I will be in DC next weekend. So I'm not sure if you are getting a 4th of July episode because I will be elsewhere on 4th of July. So I wanted to definitely get you this episode, and of course our next Toxic Tuesday, which we will be talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta, the grand finale. That past episode was really good. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So it'll probably be like a supersized episode because we're going to be talking about everything. And then I will not have an episode for 4th of July, but I will be back on for that Tuesday following. And it's just got a little sticky with all my vacation coming up. And then, like I said, I have my birthday coming up in August. So I'll let you guys know that schedule as well. But also follow me on social medias. Even though I didn't post about it, you can still see me on social media. But I was like, it won't matter. Everybody needs a break. Everybody needs a little vacay. The consistency is a little choppy for the end of July, the end of July, the end of June, early July, and end of July. We'll be back to regular programming for sure after my birthday in August. Like, it'll be back Tuesday, Friday. But these coming weeks, I'm going to be letting you know when I'm posting episodes at the end of these episodes, so stay tuned. But nonetheless, we don't do reality topics during the What's the Reality. We dive right in. So like I said, a quick recap of this episode. We're going to be getting into the Joel, Kim Booster, and Shannon Beador of it all, their epic fallout, which came as a shock to a lot of people because Joel was hosting Bravo's Love Hotel. So I want to get into who Joel Kim Booster is because I didn't know who that man was. We're going to get into where it came from, about a lot of the critique he got, and will he be hosting Bravo's Love Hotel Season 2? Will he? Do we have that information? Are we privy to that information? So with Bravo's Love Hotel officially being donezo, I share my thoughts about it. I thought it was really good. Nothing really shocked me, though, the ending. Let's dive into the drama that really started before filming or at the end of filming and before the show even aired. So before we really get into it, we're going to talk about the text messages, of course. And we're going to talk about how he even got this gig and this role. And also who is, like I said, Joel Kim Booster. Is he the self-proclaimed next Andy Cohen? Because it's seeming like that. And how did him and Andy even get in touch? Because I was just like, who is this man? I also didn't realize that I've probably watched several episodes of Watch What Happens Live with Joel Kim Booster on the show. I just wouldn't know a thing because, like I said, I didn't know who this guy was. I don't watch any of his work. But I guess we should just get into the text messages. Or not the text messages. We should just get into who is Joel Kim Booster. So, yes, Joel Kim Booster is adopted. And I'm pretty sure he's Korean. Of Asian descent, and he is a producer, writer, comedian, actor. So his big works of art is Big Mouth, which is on Netflix, and the other two. So I do know Big Mouth. I've never watched it, but I do know people that have watched Big Mouth. So that is where his main name comes from. He also was on a show on Hulu, and I don't know if you guys remember, because now that I know him, it's like clicking to me that he has a resume. Do you guys remember when Chrissy Teigen had that, like, it wasn't a cooking show, it was like a dining show, like they tried different foods from all over the world and like they were interviewing different celebrity and guests. I don't know who Chrissy Teigen was with. It's David Yang, but Joel would come on and co-host some episodes with them. Yeah, he was on that. I never watched it. It was on Hulu. This was probably like, let me look it up. I feel like this was like 2021, 2022, maybe 2019. What was it called? It was called Dine Out. Chrissy Teigen. When was this? It didn't come back. Oh, it's 2024. It was last year, and it only had 5 episodes. It blended so much in the back. I thought this was like years ago. So I don't think it's coming back because it was last February 2024. But yeah, he was on a couple of those episodes. So I guess like 3 of them. He was co-hosting the episode, and he's also in the bio when you look up the show. So Joel, he's been around the block when it comes to productions, to writing, all of this stuff. And like I said, he's not a stranger to reality TV. He's been on Watch What Happens Live. I don't know when his first Watch What Happens Live appearance was, but I know he's been on there countless times with blonde hair, specifically that episode, because I remember like thinking like, who is this guy? And then there was another episode where I didn't know who he was, and Andy was super giddy to ask him about when's the last time he had a threesome. I did not know that was Joel, but he was like literally like last night, and Andy was like so happy. So I'm pretty sure Andy Cohen and Joel have formed a friendship solely on Joel being a regular, guest, someone he can always probably call up to sit in the second chair for Watch What Happens Live, until Joel gets a bid to produce this new show and to be a part, well, not produce, he didn't produce it, but to be the host of this new show called Bravo's Love Hotel. he got this bid to be the host for Bravo's Love Hotel. So Bravo's Love Hotel was based in Cabo. Took place, you guys, we all watched it. We loved it. We hated it. 4 housewives focused on Giselle Bryan, Luann de Lesseps, Ashley Darby, and of course Shannon Beador. This was some of the housewives. This is some of Bravo's most eligible bachelorettes looking for love, and Joelle was the host. So when you're watching the show, you don't see any negativity, any vibes between him and Shannon, which is why people were so confused. We hadn't heard anything. It wasn't until, and we're going to start getting into some timelines, it wasn't until I think it was at a rap party or something happened at the rap party towards the end of filming. This is when Joelle went on a whole tangent, all of this stuff about Shannon Beador, and the fans were not happy about it, like, at all. So let me see when. Let's get into these timelines because, of course, I have them written down. So September 2024. So on Instagram Live, Joelle said that Shannon had been. I have the screenshots. Let me bring up my screenshots and I can put them on the screen. So he was on Instagram Live at first, and then he posted to his Instagram stories. While my images are loading, I need a new Mac so bad. It's like time. This thing, I need a new one, but I do not want to commit to a new one. I might get a refurbished one. Okay. I had to get that loaded up. So he was on Instagram Live and he was talking about Shannon. He said that she had been a terror to work with, humiliated the crew, was super rude to someone at the rap party. And then he posted these screenshots, which I'm going to put on my screen. He was like, just because you're pathetic drunk on a reality television show, best known for a string of failed relationships and a DUI, does not make you a star and does not give you license to treat the people you work with like they are subhuman. Period. They will make me delete this, but DM me if you'd like to see some videos. Besos. So that was the first image. This was the second one. He was like, well, that was quick. Anyway, don't regret it. Hope you screenshot it. Hope she suffers. And then he posted another one. And the other one said, well, let's just say I can't imagine what John Jansen went through. Poor guy. Everyone hates John Jansen. Keep in mind when he's going on this social media tangent, Real Housewives of Orange County is airing. Disclaimer, and I will continue to say it. I do not watch OC. I gotta watch it though. I know I gotta watch it eventually. But so OC is airing right now, and we're all seeing. Even I know that Shannon's having a tough season because this is the season following her DUI. The ladies will not stop pestering her. Tamra Judge is being ruthless towards her. They keep beating her down. So right now, everyone is a Shannon stan when all of this is going on, which is why this is putting Joelle in a very sticky situation, because it's like, why are you saying this? Everyone is like obsessed with this girl right now. Like, what was the point? Okay, I had to get my light up. Okay, where do we leave off? So yes, I need to watch OC. Either way, when these Instagram stories came out, it was at an unfortunate time because there was a huge wave of Shannon support. They're like, Joelle, how dare you? How could you do this? How unprofessional, which we're also going to talk about, like my opinion on it, all of that stuff. So obviously the post also was hitting on, Shannon's past traumas. Because Shannon had got a DUI the 2 seasons ago. She did 40 hours of community service. I cannot talk today. So then 2 weeks later, so he takes it down. 2 weeks later, Joelle does apologize on Instagram to Shannon, saying, quote unquote, I let an on-set conflict cloud my judgment and assess the darkest, ugliest part of myself and said things I don't stand by or even believe, and I am deeply sorry that allowed my worst self to cloud my judgment. So we get that apology after all of these rumblings, like what is going on over there in Bravo? Are we going to see this play out? Because like I said, this is happening in September 2024. The show just finished wrapping because they filmed during summer. You staying with me? So they had a wrap party. Something happened, and he said she was mean to his friend. I'm like, what friend? Like, what happened? Because he was going off. Something clearly rubbed him the wrong way for him to go off like this. So we get that apology 2 weeks later after he did take it down. That's why he's like, screenshot it now before it's going down. They about to tell me to take it down. So people did their screenshots. They did their big one. He took it down. We're hearing from him 2 weeks later. He's on his hands and knees. Lord, what is it? Por favor. Like, please don't come for me. Because the people were coming for him, y'all. He said he was getting death threats, being called slurs, names. The people were coming for him. Because, like I said, OC was in its prime. Shannon is getting a redeeming arc this season following her DUI. The viewers feel bad for her. The ladies are not easing off the gas. Beador does a live show with Vicky and some of the cast with Gretchen. Gretchen was there. Who else was there? I feel like Emily was there. I saw a clip. And someone asked her about that situation. This is probably like a week later after the apology, or like a couple days later. She says, I really don't know what it's about. And this is from Entertainment Tonight I'm taking. She said, but she said he had tears in his eyes at the wrap party. Like, he was so happy that the project was completed. Like, it went through. He was super congratulatory of Shannon. And that's why she said she just don't know what happened. And yeah, she said she was quote unquote so happy for him, for her, the reality star. So then she says he trashed her daughters. And I don't know when I missed that, because I was trying to find the Instagram live he initially did, but I couldn't, because I think he like hopped on real quick and then logged off. Like, I don't think no one had a chance to grab it yet, but we grabbed, of course, his screenshots. But she said he trashed my daughters. He said that I hope that I suffer. He said he feels sorry for John Jansen. He says that I'm nothing but a pathetic drunk, and it's really going to look silly for him because he's had nothing but love for me the entire show, which we do see, which is like we were all watching. I think that's also why the ratings for the show were so like high at the moment, because we were all like, well, wait, is something going to play out on camera? Nothing ended up playing out on camera. And then she said, what I'm sad about is that I did some kind things on the show and people said it was kind. It's hard for me to walk away from an experience that I really enjoyed and to have that damper on it, but we'll see what happens. I don't know where it came from. I really don't. That was her comment on it. So then we're going to jump to Luann. Everybody was just doing stuff. So then we got Luann jumping on Melissa Gorga's podcast on display or whatever. And then she said, quote unquote, and I felt like, in my opinion, she seemingly was, in support of him, low-key. She was just kind of like, listen, he made a mistake for sure. People make mistakes. He acted out, and then it was too late to take it back. And God knows what we've all done. So that was that. Wrapped it up, tidy, little bow. April 1st, April 1st this year. Joel Kim Booster, he goes on Nick Files. I did not only watched the part where he addressed what had happened. And he was going to talk about Bravo's Love Hotel. He's also addressing what happens, of course, with Shannon Beador. And this is what I took from it. First of all, he didn't really want to go on that show because he had to address some stuff with Nick Viall, because Nick Viall was one of the people, when all this information was coming out, was totally attacking Joel. And it's just like, kudos to Joel. Like, I have a lot of respect for him. He's going on a platform a show that clearly does not mess with him because he's trying to clear his name. Period. Kudos for Joel. He addresses that with Nick, and then he's like, and then Nick's like, so why did you apologize then? Like 2 weeks later, what made you want to apologize? Joel says, look, if anything, Bravo executives did not want me to apologize. Like, he was like, I can literally show you text threads. He never showed them. I wish he showed them, but he never showed them. He's like, if anything, they literally sent me messages like, hey, let this blow off. We don't need to make a big deal out of this. It'll be dusted under the rug. But he said in his heart he still needed to apologize because he just needed to clear his conscience. And also, it was just the right thing to do. And we do learn he also did send a personal apology to Shannon. But the further information on that is that I don't think she responded. So he apologized to her, but I don't think she responded. I think it was kind of like a, boy, screw you. And he said he doesn't blame her because she probably thinks he's trying to save face, all of that stuff. Yeah. So I don't know if the apology was well received or accepted. I don't know if she called back. Like, the way he phrased it was like maybe like he apologized in person, like sent a text, and I don't even think she acknowledged it. And then he says that, now that that's done, it's over. Like, it happened in September, so this is happening in April. He's on the Nick Viall files. He's like, we're gonna have to coexist. I mean, he said he's not an OC often, but if he is an OC, like, they'll have to coexist. Like, the show's done. It's not like there's gonna be a reunion. It'll be fine for them to continue on and coexist. That'll be completely fine. And then, of course, he also said he regrets not addressing this issue with her professionally and in an intimate, personal way versus running to social media like he did. So that's really what I took from it. And I also took some, like, he was like, Bravo was telling me not to apologize because Shannon's a busy person, and it's probably like the least on her total pole, especially at the point now we are at, as he's recapping it. And I did think it was interesting because he's like, the only person I really had an issue with it was his fiance. His fiance did not want him posting that. He's super mad, and now his fiance was like monitoring his posts. Also, he was like planning a wedding at the time. There's a lot of layers to Joel. So he's learned his lesson, and then he also explains that he is still getting death threats. People are saying they're not going to watch the show because of him, and he's like, well, I hope you do watch the show. And he really went through it, and I think it just shows when you really battle a top dog on Bravo. I don't know Shannon's game, so I can only tell you what I saw on Bravo's Love Hotel because I'm really not familiar with her game. And I would say, I guess people consider her a top dog on Bravo. Like, the people love her, and it's shocking to me because she comes off very like neurotic, but the people love her. They did not like what he did. So then we get April 27th, Bravo Love Hotel premieres, and they're, like I said, we all watched it. I recapped it a little bit. Nothing happened to the sort that would make you think that there was an issue, which is why we do know for a fact this was something that happened off camera. Like he said, something rubbed him the wrong way. He wasn't feeling something, and that's that. So everything did happen once the show wrapped. So Joel's outburst, let's talk about the backlash he received. Like I said, social media was not a fan of it. They were coming for him in the comment section. He said he got a ton of hate comments. It's because of her triumphant return on the OC. But yeah, I kind of talked about that. And then, like I said, during that season, we're also seeing Alexis with John Jansen. People are so glad they aren't coming back. I know it's just not a bad relationship. If I have any idea, I'm not comparing him to Earl, but like I said, I haven't watched OC. I figured that Shannon does not have the best picks. She doesn't have a good intuition when it comes to picking men. Therefore, she was receiving so much love because everyone saw how crappy John Jansen literally treated her. She doesn't really know how to pick him. She just really doesn't know how to pick him. That's really the timeline of it all. Let's talk about kind of like the aftermath. So Joel's done all of that. He's kind of went into hiding. He's very trying to keep a low profile, listening like Andy said. Joel was just on Watch Happens Live with Luann for the season finale of Bravo's Love Hotel. And literally, it just tells me that, is he going to host the second season? I have a feeling he'll be hosting the second season, because the fact that Andy allowed him back in the chair is just wild to me. They didn't even talk about the situation. They're in a better place now. And he even gives his like picks for like his next season dream team, which he said was, you know, Lindsay Hubbard, Paige DeSorbo, Adriana De Mora from Miami, and then Heather Gay. I actually love this cast, but we know Paige DeSorbo is not going to do that sort of thing ever again. She's not doing reality TV, especially not like that. Lindsay Hubbard is a good pick. I really like that. Even though I heard a rumor that it's Heather Gay that's up for it, Lala Kent. Who else did they say? And I was just like, okay. I think they said Sutton was like a backup and Cynthia was a backup. I cannot remember who else they said. Sonia Morgan, which is someone I was rooting for. And I cannot remember that other person they said. But I was just like, okay. I was like, I guess. But Lala Kent kind of like disturbed me. But they said someone else. I was just like, all right. I think they said Adriana. I do think they said Adriana, like he said. So is he going to host the second season? Like, I don't know. I really don't know. So, and then he said, as for men, Tom Sandoval and Shep Rose would be good, but he didn't want to see men on the show. This happened over a time span of 5 months. In hindsight, should he have been doing that? Was it professional? Unprofessional? Yes, which I'm about to get into my thoughts, my unbiased thoughts as someone that hasn't watched Real Housewives of OC and someone that hasn't watched any work that Joel Kim Booster does. Because like I said, I really didn't know that man. But it's looking like he's going to be returning. So given everything that he's done, the text messages, the Instagram Live, walking back the apology, the press tour, people said his Substack has some pretty crazy stuff. I tried to look that up. I couldn't find any information on that. They were like, is his fiance still proofreading stuff? Also, who is his fiance to proofread? Like, who is this fiance that's, like, proofreading all of his, like, social media stuff? I don't know. Let me look his fiance's name up real quick. Because I'm like, who is this man that's, like, always perfect? That's, like, literally looking up his stuff. Yeah. John Michael Satsanita. I remember saying his name or, like, writing it down. But I was like, who is this man that's, like, always literally monitoring his social media, essentially? Because he's like, my fiance didn't like it. He's monitoring this now. They said his Substack post had some other disparaging stuff about Shannon. Can't find it. I scoured the internet. A little too late. This scandal's a little 5 months too late. But what was I going to say? My thoughts, my unbiased thoughts as someone that doesn't know anything that Joel does, doesn't watch Real Housewives of Orange County. There is a part of me, and I think there's a part of a lot of people that could see where he's coming from. There are some housewives that are difficult to work with. Teresa Giudice not being one of them. Every time we hear about Teresa Giudice, it's about how much she loves her crew, how much she takes care of them, she makes them food, all of the stuff that they have to film. But there are some people that treat the crew like they are lower than them, lesser than them. And when you think about it, the crew really is with you your whole longevity on a show, your whole trajectory on the show. And people, I was digging into some comments, people were saying Shannon's not the best to work with. And if you watch Bravo's Love Hotel, which I urge everyone to do, when you watch Bravo's Love Hotel, she's neurotic. She's erratic. She's very like, and she scares me sometimes. Like, especially when she's like blowing up the smallest details. Like when Earl didn't have a shirt on. She hated the fact that he didn't have a shirt on the boat. She hated the fact that he didn't like vegetables, which honestly is the biggest red flag on him. She hated something else, and I was just kind of like, okay, she's nitpicking. I also think it's just like, she seems so desperate for love and validation. But in terms of a working relationship, we wouldn't know how Shannon is. But like I said, some comments are saying, like, Shannon, they hear she's not that pleasant to be around, especially when she is in a mood or a funk. And whatever she had did, Joel thought he was defending his friend, and he's like, look, let me say this, let me shut this down. I also think Shannon comes off very judgmental. On the flip side of that, Joel is in a unique position. He has the opportunity to host a Bravo show, a very new Bravo show. And I would just hate for this to kind of get in the way of his future on Bravo, because he's saying he wants to be the next Andy Cohen. He's made that very known. He's like, hey, Andy, shout out to Andy Cohen. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, I want to be an Andy C when Andy retires. So it was super unprofessional for him to go on Instagram, social media, and blast Shannon Beador. Because at the end of the day, this is someone you work with. This is someone that you are hoping to continue having a working relationship with, especially in the Bravo world. You don't want to piss off them top dog housewives. You really do not want to do that. So, like I said, my honest take, two things can be true. Shannon can be a nightmare to work with. Joel can be in the wrong. Just because you're telling it how it is or you're keeping it straight doesn't mean you should be doing that. Overall, the scandal has blown over. He was on Watch I'm Live. He gave his housewife pick and Lala for the next season. Or the rumors and nastiness are like who's coming on for the next season. And I would assume Joel is hosting. In terms of what happened during the show, it was smooth sailing, which is why Shannon also was like, I'm totally, blindsided by this, because in terms of the show, like, it just looks like me and him are cool. Like, you wouldn't think he had a problem with her. But like I said, I see both sides, and I'm glad the hate has stopped. I'm glad it's kind of over for him. I feel bad for that. Shannon will continue to thrive. Real Housewives of OC comes on July 10th. I feel like they just ended their season and they're already about to get another season, or the season's about to air. And that's why I'm like, dang, I really need to start watching OC. But really, that's the scandal, the feud that happened. I wanted to keep it really nice and short and sweet. This is one of my 30-minute episodes. Very rare. It's when I really am like interested in a certain feud, and we just want to dig it up a little bit, bring the receipts, do a quick little overview. But that's really what's the reality on Shannon Beador and Joel. We don't know if they're on good terms today. I figure they are not, because Shannon doesn't seem like the type of person to just let stuff go. And then also it's like you publicly tried to shame and embarrass her. Can you blame her for not really accepting your Instagram apology? I hope he did follow up with an apology and probably sent something to her house. Like, I hope he did more than what he's telling us. But like I said, I don't know Joel Kim Booster. I'm gonna keep my eye on him. And just his personality, because he can be a little BE, like a BE, like, you know what I mean, like a BE, beachy. He comes off very beachy, and so does she, and it's like Battle of the Beaches, you know what I mean? But that's really the reality on that feud. The show's over, on to the next. Another feud I'm really looking forward to, you guys will see in probably like 2 weeks. It'll be coming out in 2 weeks. So I'm going to do some digging up on that. But what was y'all's take on the whole Joel and Shannon? I mean, it's so last year, but I mean, it happened. Do you guys think Joel will be back in any capacity on Bravo? I say yes, because he was on Watch I'm Live with Luann. It wasn't like someone random. Like, he was on with someone. So I say he may be the host again, and they're just going to be like, yo, we can't have what happened last season happen again. But also, Bravo loves this, y'all. At the end of the day, Bravo is a television show. They are a network. They are smart, and they know for a fact him going on this tangent, saying all of this, is boosting their ratings at the end of the day. People tuned in just to see if there was any animosity and tension between Shannon and Joel. I mean, they tuned out when they found out there wasn't. I think they should have stayed tuned in. But they did tune out when they found out nothing was really of the sort. Anyway, that's your episode. That's your episode. Nice, short, and sweet like a bow. Next episode for Toxic, but it is Tuesday. We are getting to the Real Housewives of Atlanta grand finale. We're talking about it all. I'm talking about the Carlos King of it all, because he dropped an interview real quick. I'm talking about the Next Gen NYC. What else did I want to talk about? We're talking about we're probably going to talk about Miami just a little bit. And then some other stuff that is just happening. But really, the next episode will be a little longer than my like 50 to an hour, probably like a good like hour and 15. And I really want to talk about Atlanta because I didn't get a chance to recap this previous episode. And this previous episode was really good. But thank you so much for listening to What's the Reality on What the Reality. Let me know what other topics you really want me to dive into, get into, some things that you're curious about. And you're like, it has to do with pop culture or Bravo. Because I'm not only doing Bravo stuff, but we're just in a Bravo wave right now. Eventually, I'm going to get into some very pop culture-esque moments in history that have happened that I really want to dive into. But let me know what else y'all want to see. If you're watching me on YouTube, hello. And if you are listening to me wherever you listen to your podcast, do not forget to give me 5 stars, leave a rating, and follow my show. Thank you. Bye, guys. Period. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast, What the Reality with me, Cache Roberts. Don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and a comment wherever you listen to your podcast. Let me know what I should be doing. Let me know how I'm doing. All compliments are welcome. Until the next time.